Okay. All right. Says we're live. So, hello. Welcome to finally another day off for me. I am ready to do some writing, but I think I need sort of like a change up. So, I think I'm going to be working on sort of plotting out a short story, just to kind of have something a little fun, little short, something that I feel like maybe I can accomplish in pretty short order of things. So I'm working on a shorter piece today. And I may have you help me pick out which one to start on, because I have my alliteration title list. So I may just a little bit later have you tell me a letter that you want, and we'll kind of go from there. But anyway, so I am essentially thinking I'm going to do a short story today, at least plot out, maybe start drafting. I don't know. But yeah, so work has been crazy. I also on Monday got a flat tire as I was going into work, and I had just, I think Saturday night, I had filled the tires with air because they were looking a little low, mainly the two front tires that were looking a little low. And it was one of my back tires that blew, essentially like the sidewall cracked. So I ordered new tires. They have arrived I ordered them from Costco because they were like $80 cheaper per tire. But I can't get them put on because I don't have any appointments until like the 16th, which is like a really long time to wait. So I may call them and see if they have like a walk-in appointment or something before then. But for right now, I've got the tires coming in and or like at Costco supposedly. But yeah, yeah, me too. I'm glad I wasn't hurt when it blew. But yeah, essentially, like I turned on the car in the morning to go leave for work. And as I was pulling out of the neighborhood, I realized that my tire gauge light was on. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I like overinflated it. But normally, like if it was overinflated, that light would come on when they were hot, not when they were cold, because I had just started the car. And so my music hadn't come on, thank goodness. And so I was like, it's a little noisier than it normally is. And so there's the next street over has like an in and outlet for their neighborhood entrance. So I just pulled into there and sort of like turned around so I could continue out if there wasn't a problem, and stopped. And I popped open my car door and I could hear the hissing, like it was actively, like the air was actively leaving the tire at that point. So I was like, oh crap. So yeah. But anyway, so we just had somebody come out and AAA, and they took that tire off and put my spare on. My spare had like no air either. So luckily the serviceman had a compressor, mobile compressor, and was able to fill the tire up and everything. So, but yeah, you're not supposed to drive the spare like hardly at all. So, so we just drove it home, and then Mom took me to work. So yeah, fun times in Carland. First my headlight, which I still haven't gotten fixed. The casing around it was broken when that teenager threw a bottle of whatever at the front of my car. Now the tire's blown. So, I guess it's just like time for the car maintenance, supposedly, and I don't know. But yeah, so, but the strawberry full moon was this past Saturday. Hopefully y'all did some nice manifesting with that. I've been sort of like contemplating and reflecting and trying to make some decisions going forward and things like that. So we'll see what happens with that. And yeah. So, how are you guys doing? I feel like I haven't been here, and I feel like I haven't talked to you guys in forever. So I missed y'all. BA says, hey, y'all, under 30 minutes. Can't wait. Woohoo! And are you enjoying your summer yet? Are you off? I'm hoping you're off from school. So, excuse me. Ms. Ocampo says, hey, everyone. Hello. How are you, Monique? Hope you're doing well. Do you guys think you can get away with using fairy lore in book 2 of your series without totally ripping off Sarah J. Maas? You can, absolutely. Because you can specifically look at fairy and folklore from different cultures. Because different cultures have different approaches to sort of like fairies or spirits. And depending on whether or not you're looking at, it's even if you are going to use fairy lore, there is usually fairy lore is centered around sort of like Western culture. A lot of times when we call it fairy lore, there are different depictions of fae or fairy. And depending on which tradition you look into, there are very different perspectives as to how to and how not to interact with fae. And so you can absolutely get away with using fairy lore, and you may want to delve into research as to like which type of fairy lore you want to include. If you have an idea, or if you have an idea of how you want to structure your fairy lore, you may want to look up the particular things that you are thinking of to see which culture it falls under, and then do a deep dive into that particular culture's versions of fairy and fae. I know Sarah J. Maas has done some research into particular types of fae and fairy lore, but that it is not the be-all inclusive, like the be-all end-all. So yes, you can do fairy lore, but if you want it to sort of be if you want it to be cohesive, I would recommend doing research into a particular region or particular culture's versions of the fae and the fairy. So yes, and there's plenty of research to read about Western fairies and fae and all that. So you can find quite a lot. Mom Maggie says, hello, lovelies. Hello. Victoria, hello. Welcome. Regina is here. Hello, friends. Hello. Cool Gamer is here. Hey. Hello. Yay, a day off. Exactly. Monique says, I'm currently doing some world building work, figuring out how fae folk connect to the events of my novel. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Definitely the research should be done with the world building. Yeah. So excellent. Basically, you're reading about fairy courts. Okay. Yes. And so the thing about the fairy courts in particular is that the idea of the court really only happened. This is from my research, and this may not be highly accurate, but this is from my understanding, is that the court system did not appear in our fairy lore and folklore until the aristocracy had a chokehold on culture, essentially. So some people put this as before 1066, and some people put it after, because you had the Normandy invasion, and you had the French culture sort of like superimposing on the English culture, and then you had this battle between the cultures, and sort of like this hodgepodge of like mishmash together. And so you had a redefining of what it meant to be a court system. You had different influences and because you also had literate versus illiterate, and the church was rewriting things as they were recording history or folktales and whatnot. So you have this complete paradigm shift in order to focus on what the conquerors wanted, essentially. And so there was definitely fairy pre there were fairy lore pre-court, if you want to. So courts came later. So it's hard because I don't necessarily know how you want to integrate the court into your world building. And there may, some of this history just like won't apply. But definitely look into the type of court that you want, and the historical basis for it, so that you have some sort of framework that you can easily slot into your own world building, for sure. So you doing the world building research, that's a good thing. Yes. Megan says hello. Hello. Yes, this is where we're talking about the tire. So hi, Ty. Currently on chapter 20 of your novel, but your muse wants you to work on world building. And that's fine, because sometimes your muse is telling you that you need to do a little bit more. Jinn and Fae are not the same thing. Correct. Very different cultures. Did the Persians have fairies? That would interest the hell out of you. So they did not have what they would call fairies, from what I understand. There are definitely folklore that had sort of like more spirit-like things. But not necessarily what we would consider fairies. From what I know. Again, like I will always preface that with like an asterisk of like, from what I know, from what I have read. And I have quite a few collections of things. Although, do I have one that's like particularly Persian? Panchatantra is more Indian, but it does have some influence from like. Anyway, I'm getting distracted again. Sorry, y'all. You basically want to use fairy courts, but don't want to use the same names. Mom and gotcha. Okay. So what you may want to do is do some research into the naming systems and what historically the courts were called, and use some of the variations that they have been called over the years that Sarah J. Maas decided not to use, like for whatever reason. So BA says, you're off for the summer. Yay! But you're going in some, whenever you feel like it, to work on reorganizing your office and your robotics team room. Fair enough. The Jinn were more like poltergeists and sometimes tricksters or demons. Yes. Yes, yes. Megan says, cool. Rosalind says, hello. Hello. Shakespeare had the comedic fairy court in Midsummer's Night Dream. Right. Yes. Yes. Mozo Campo says, thanks for that. You're welcome. Charlie's here. Yay. Hey. Welcome. Your current idea is that the Queen of Nightmare is Morgana Le Fay, who's a dark fairy queen. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, you could definitely incorporate some of the Arthurian legends if you want to sort of like as well. Include things like that. Yeah. There's lots of things you could do with fairy and folklore. That's the fun thing, is there's so many of them and there's so many variations. And even if you go back to like Arthurian legends and whatnot, you can see remnants of I think our yard people are here, so we'll have to start a sprint soon. There are remnants of older fairy tales and folklore that have been rewritten by the church. So yeah, so there's lots of things. You might want to research Bridget. That's an idea. You may find some inspiration in her. Anyway, okay, so just thought, yes. Don't forget the cards. Yes, we do need some cards. I've not done a card pull since Saturday. So, all right, random spirit animal. The hummingbird. So, the be here now is our main message for today. Living in the moment. Always still have to sing the alphabet. I don't know why. Just still do. All right, so hummingbird, be here now. The hummingbird's wings beat so swiftly that it can hover in seeming stillness as it drinks deeply from a flower. The hummingbird spirit comes to remind you that the beauty and sweetness of life is the eternal now, the timeless present. Here and now, you are becoming the person you wish to be, to have the experiences you wish to have. Focus your energy on the flower before you, for what you desire is being provided. Yes, there are blossoms everywhere. The choices can be dazzling. Hummingbird Spirit's message is that you have no need to go about in search of something better. For all that you require and all that you desire is before you. You will know this as you become still, feeling your connection to the spirit who loves you unconditionally and will always provide for you. Excellent. Okay, so Hummingbird is saying pick one thing. Pick one thing and work on that today. Just one. And enjoy it while you're doing it. Since we pulled the hummingbird, I think what I'll do, should I go with H for my letter? For my alliteration titles? I think I should. I think that's what I should do. The hummingbird and H. That's probably what I'll do. All right. So I need to pull up a timer. Let's start with the 25-minute teapot. Present, share screen, share the teapot, share it again, open it. All right, and put the banner up. Okay. All right, so here's our reminders. 1, save your document if you've already been working today. If not, go ahead and pull up whatever document or documents that you are going to choose to work on today. 2, take a sip of whatever it is you're hydrating or have your reminder to go refill your glass. 3, straighten your spine, roll your shoulders back for that posture check. Make sure you're not slouching too much. And 4, make sure that if you need a break, take one. Here we go, 25 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Okay. Let me see how much I've gotten. 197 words. Sorry, I need to write this down. Okay. Anyway, I also popped a question in the chat in case you have not voted. Please do, but it seems to be a pretty clear, at the moment, it seems to be a pretty clear preference as to in terms of like which pairing y'all prefer. So at the moment, if you have not voted, please do. But again, I think most of y'all have voted. The harpy and the hellhound have won over the honey badger and hydra. So yeah, so I went ahead because I saw that things were tending towards one side rather than the other. I went ahead and was fleshing out some ideas for the harpy and the hellhound. And so I decided that, oh, did I not end that properly? Did I hit cancel instead? I don't know. Anyway, so like 67% of y'all preferred the harpy and the hellhound. Anyway, so the meet cute, I feel like they should meet in like anger management classes, like so that's how the harpy and the hellhound are going to meet. They're going to be forced into attending anger management sessions is like a group therapy type thing, and neither one of them wants to be there, and they both were there for there it goes. They both are there because they have like beaten up or harmed someone who really did deserve it. And so I was looking again for through some of like my notes and whatnot for the mythological bits and pieces. So the harpies, one of their sort of like historically preferred victims were people who offed their own family members. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I could definitely have a scenario where like she beats the living stew out of someone, or she could like transform and pick them up and like drop them on. So I have some options there. So if this is something that has like caught the local media's attention, then it would have to be like a either slightly or very public disposal of said person. And so, like, where would the harpy be able to like lift this person up and drop them to where it would, one, either harm them very badly, but like still leave them to suffer, or like off them. But in which case they wouldn't necessarily be just in anger management courses. So I'm thinking it will have to be like not completely offed. So I have some options for that. But yeah. So, and I haven't gotten to the hellhounds victims yet, but definitely, again, like considering they're only in anger management courses or sessions, I'll have to like make sure that there's like a logical reason for them to be in that versus like on trial. But yeah, so well-deserving victims, shall we say? But yeah, so that's their meet cute. They meet in anger management classes. So, and of course, by the end of it, they will team up, and find an additional person who meets both of their standards. Perhaps the anger management counselor. I don't know. Perhaps that should be a thing. Or perhaps either the lawyer or the bean counter who like decided that they needed to go. I don't know. What do you think of those three options? Like the anger management, like counselor, the lawyer, or an accountant, which I feel like the anger management counselor has more potential there. I feel like of those three. But yeah, anyway, so that's what I've been doing. Feeling out some ideas for that. Yeah. How y'all doing? How'd we do? So Charlie recommended, if you're wanting some more of the fae and fairy lore, as well as sort of like some of the Arthurian legends and things like that, going for, and I know that I'm going to mispronounce this because it's Welsh, and I don't know how to pronounce Welsh things. I've always said it the Mabignon, but I don't know if that's right because I feel like that's much more of a French thing than an actual like Welsh name. So I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But anyway, so this title right here is a collection of Welsh told versions of Celtic folklore and their versions of Arthurian legends and stuff like that. So it's a very good collection. I agree. I do have a copy somewhere on my shelf, but I will have to find it at some point. I've also refilled my water. Stacy is here. Hello. And Becca made it right before the sprint. Hello. Monique says, I was actually thinking that Susie came from the prince and princess of a Filipino folk tale and or dance. Long story, but there's basically a traditional dance that tells the story of a princess kidnapped by fairies. Interesting, as a test of character for a prince. There's several versions of this, and I wonder if this is not one of the stories that sort of like made its way along the trade routes, and then we're just like retold with different variances of culture. Because yeah, if you don't know, Cinderella, the core of the Cinderella story is fascinating because you can literally track it across all of the cultures where the trade routes went. And you will find that the garb that the young woman or man, depending on the version of the story, because there are a couple of Cinderella stories that have male protagonists. But anyway, it's fascinating because the garb, whether it would be like embroidered shoes, glass shoes, that one was a translation issue, but you can also see that the cloth that is used for her dress, typically, because it's usually a young woman, but occasionally you will have the young man. You will see that the cloth that the garb, the magical garb that is given to the main character is different based on what was considered a luxury in that culture. And so it's quite fascinating because you have certain, and also the length of the party, because there are some stories in which the version of the party is 3 days, and some stories where it was only 1 day. And so it depends on and the type of carriage or the type of ride, how the character got to the ball. Did they go in a gilded gold carriage? Did they ride on a different colored stallion every day? Did they were they transported there by a stork? Like it's just like it's a fascinating fascinating thing. But there are different versions of this as well, kidnapping one significant other, and like the prince has to go rescue, or the princess has to go rescue. So yes, test of characters are like a tried and true thing for fairy tales, and it really does show the characteristics as well that the culture honors more than others. So the types of things, is it perseverance? Is it attention to detail? Is it bravery in the face of danger? Whatever it is, there are kindness, I'm sorry, y'all have like talking about fairy tales and everything. Y'all have picked my bone of like this is the one thing that I like love and have read so many things. Yes. My fun times. Broadly speaking, there are two main alliances, the courts of creation and the courts of destruction. Ooh, I like that divide. Yes. Both are chaotic to some degree. Yes. Amen to that. Courts of creation protect humanity and nature. This is an interesting, yeah. This is a very interesting dichotomy there that you have, and you can have some really, really cool philosophical questions between your characters and discussions when you talk about the benefits of creation and destruction and what allows for life more. Fascinating. So yes, I like this. Also, Mordred is now a vampire. Fantastic. BA says you worked on details about one of your main characters. Yay. Becca got 165 words. Fantastic. Got stuck for a bit, but you think you figured it out. Yay. Excellent. Megan contemplated gender during that sprint for your next Substack post. You're confusing yourself to no end, but that's kind of the point, you think, for the post. True. You love the idea of the meet cute. Yes. Yes. And Regina says hello to Becca. Charlie says, my first box of tabletop RPG books arrived from Monte Cook Games, as well as a beautiful Old Gods of Appalachia dice set. Ooh, that could be fun. I think this is a sign that I should be working on my tabletop role-playing game. Perhaps. You love the anger management one as well. Yes. Okay, you vote for the counselor as well, but lawyers are always good victims too. You think it's pronounced Mapanogion? Perhaps. I'm going to have to Google how to pronounce it because I probably won't remember the next time either. But yeah. Okay, so Google Singkill. It's a part of a very long oral story from the Philippines. All right, I will do that as well. Okay, let's do another sprint. And this is the second sprint, so don't forget to do your self-promo. Just remember that if you do not have the blue wrench, you will not be able to post direct links. All right. Okay. I think we are ready. So 1, save your document. 2, make sure you take a sip of whatever it is that you're hydrating with. Cheers. 3, straighten your spine, roll your shoulders back for that posture check. And 4, make sure if you need a break, take one. Here we go. 30 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. I'm trying to decide on some names. I think I've got one, but I'm just looking at my options, my top options, and trying to decide. I'm up to 456 words of notes with this. I've gotten a little bit more about the hellhounds process of hounding their victim. Sort of a little bit more psychological, sort of like appearing at dusk and dawn, being all creepy and stalkerish, but also occasionally like showing up in their house. And then I have this little bit. It was like he would occasionally get hungry and would eat some ham that the victim had bought. Who knew that snacking would appear to be so dangerous? And then somebody else is going to be chiming in and saying, when you maintain eye contact while you crunch on a bone and it cracks in splinters, of course it's a little menacing. So I'm like, okay, this is more psychological than like just the harpies way of like just picking them up and throwing them down on something hard to like, prove a point. A little bit more brutal, a little bit more quick. And then, so, yeah. So I also have decided on a third character who's going to be important to the story. So that's going to be fun. I'm getting a little bit more solidified for this short story. This is going to be an interesting and fun one, I think. So, yay. Okay, also don't forget that was the second sprint, so don't forget to do the self-promo if you have not already done so. In the meantime, I'm going to scroll back up and find Megan's. So here's Megan says, this week's post is a short one. Quick queer thoughts. Being bi is complicated. And here's the link for that. Or you can check out all of Megan's links here at linktree/Megan_McCarthy. Now you're off to take the dogs out. Excellent. Becca C. Smith says, I started a new Instagram where I make fun, silly reels that are all about the world building for my Hexsphere series. It's been so much fun. And here is the link for that. But the account name is going to be Hexsphere Chronicles. Yes. I know I saw it. I can't remember if I followed it. So I'm going to have to check after the stream to make sure that I have properly followed you. Also, my phone is way over there. I don't feel like getting up and checking at the moment. So I will do that after the stream. BA says, you can find my current work in progress video and meet characters here. Hope to update it often. And here is bapascar.com/Willow Hollow. Willow Hill. I don't know why I tried to say it Willow Hollow, but Willow Hill. There we go. Monique says to Megan, please share my author page for Sunnydale After Dark. One of your fics got featured for this month. Oh, nice. So here is a link for that. Charlie says, check out my fiction and thoughts on writing and life at projectshadow.com. And Jessica, hello, jumping in. You've lurked on the sprints before, but you're not sure that you've commented. Trying to get through 10K words in editing today, which is very ambitious and hopefully very doable. Hopefully there's not a whole lot of changes that you have to make. Or if they are changes, they have to be, quick ones so that you can move on right ahead. Stacy says, I'm getting some organizing work done. Nice. Making progress even if it appears to be invisible. Gotcha. Regina says, this old person needs a nap. I want a nap too. So it's not just limited to old people. Thanks, Jules, for the stream. You're welcome. Megan took the dogs out and listened to the boyfriend go over the things we need to get done. Gotcha. Thank you, Megan. Do. Yes, indeed. All right. So, I'm enjoying this process of outlining and sort of like discovering a little bit more about this little short story. So I'm going to continue that with the third sprint. It is 2:32. I'll use our third teapot, but I'll scroll it down. I'm just going to go ahead and do a 30-minute. This will take us a little over the top of the hour. So if you have to go, just say bye in the chat, and I will understand. Okay. Because of the new setup, you had to comment first to even access the 3 dots on the side. Really? Oh, okay. Yeah, because there are some new rules for moderating. Yeah. Charlie says, I'll be doing a pop-up stream about 5 p.m. today, 5 p.m. Eastern. You have some meetings today, so you might be a little late starting. Okay, so make sure you watch for a stream from Charlie. All right, let's do this. So 1, save your document. Save all the progress. 2, make sure that you take a sip of whatever it is that we're hydrating with. Cheers. 3, straighten your spine, roll your shoulders back for that posture check. And 4, make sure that if you need a break, take one. Here we go. 30 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. I got a little bit more down. Decided on at least one of the names. Still sort of not happy with the second name. But we'll figure it out. And then I decided to work a little bit in the bullet journal. I'm amazed at how many things I have, in fact, checked off for this week, despite feeling like I haven't done anything. So I feel like making that list and sort of like checking things off of it made me happy because I can look and see like, oh, I have done some actual things this week. So yeah. And then I went ahead and just made the template for the next 2 weeks. So yeah, I've got essentially that's what it looks like. Yeah. Stuff. Okay. So make sure that the pen nib isn't out. Paget is here. Hello, welcome. And Paget is excited that Charlie's going to be doing a pop-up around 5 p.m. Eastern today. Paget says, do you ever have anxiety and you don't even know why specifically? Yes. Usually you have 2 to 9 things to focus on to be anxious about, you mean? But today I feel it in my chest, just sort of like on the edges, unclear why, feeling a little insane. Yeah, there's definitely been times where I feel like that. So it's like nothing is terribly wrong in this instant, but my body is a drama queen, and well, something's got to be, even if you have anything to say about it. Yeah. Anxiety is weird. And like there's a lot of times you don't want to like acknowledge what it is that's making you actually anxious. So you're like, your brain is busy trying to think of all the other things that it could be, which just like makes you more and more paranoid and anxious as you go. Because there are plenty of reasons to be anxious. So Jen says, hello. Paget says, hey, Jen, how's the new gig? Jen says, I haven't technically been hired yet. You're doing a ride-along thing tomorrow to get a feel for it, even though it's super low-key. That's exciting. Exciting. New starts for new season. Yes. Megan says, food will be ready in 6 minutes, which is a good thing because you're dying of hunger. Then again, you haven't had breakfast and it's lunchtime. Yeah, I'm bad about this too. Because so in the mornings, I'm just like, I don't have an appetite, but sometimes you got to eat. So Jen says, I think it'll be good, but I've been so nervous. I hate when I do that things look darkest before lunch. Yeah, I am no good when I get hungry because I get really, really snappy. It's not a good thing. Paget says to Jen, isn't it crazy how after work from home for a while, venturing out to the work or wherever in the wild feels so weird? You did some volunteering at your kid's book fair and the nerves were crazy. I mean, it's a book fair, easy peasy, but you were so nervous. It will turn out great. Yes. After the first couple of days of nerves, you'll be golden. Yeah, once, in general, usually, when you start something new and sort of like figure out, once you get over the like, oh my gosh, there's so much to learn, and like start getting into the routine of things, it does ease up a bit. Usually. There are some exceptions to that based on whatever the job is, but sometimes. More character stuff for BA. Nice. Megan says, I have now eaten. My hunger has been sated. Nice. Good. Jen says, I'll feel better once I know for sure you have it. Yes, that is the thing too. And of course, after tomorrow for the ride along, part of you is bummed that you'll be working out of the house, but the other part is excited as well. It's part-time, so it'll be good for me. Yes. Stacy's getting more work done. I was feeling like I was slogging, but now it's picking up. Excellent. Megan is going to the fair this weekend. Nice. So the boyfriend and you spent that sprint making plans. Becca did some research that Sprint. You're looking into newsletter platforms. Not feeling any of them so far. Gotcha. Megan is recommending Substack. And Becca says, it's definitely the top of my list. Do you know if you can send attachments in the emails with them, though? I can't seem to find any info on that. Good question. Ooh, Jessica's about halfway through your editing goal, which means you've done 5 of 10K. That's amazing. That's fantastic. Becca, to Becca, I don't think it's possible, but you could suggest that as a feature. The team seems to like the ideas like that. Pat says, yeah, I get that, Jen. It's cool, but will definitely be a change to get adjusted to. Yes. Megan is talking about Substack still. It's still an evolving platform. So the team at Substack are still taking suggestions on how to improve. Paget says, got a little bit of character editing done then. And then that was the last. Becca says, shoot, that's the one feature I need. But I definitely write to them because I do like everything else. Jen says, I get breaks in between routes, like a split shift thing. That'll be cool. Maybe you'll bring the laptop and park somewhere and write if you can. So I'm curious, did you get hired at the Postal Service? Is that what we're talking about? Or a different delivery type thing? Because I also did a ride-along thing. Because you're talking about routes, and it makes me like dingling my brain because that is... but for the things like the split routes, there's no break in between. And they're like, just stuff it all in your truck and go. So, of course, that's at my current workplace. So I don't know if you are doing something similar or something. It's going to be different. Anyway, transport service for disabled people to get their programs and jobs. That sounds amazing. And hopefully you will get a break then. Okay, y'all. It is after 3:00 and I've done our 3 sprints. So I am going to go ahead and sign off so that I can help Mom do the laundry and other household chores that I have not been able to get to for quite some time. So yeah, it'll be a company van. You just park it at home and leave in the morning. That'll be nice. Jessica says, I'd like to get through one more chapter and then take a little break and start up again in a couple of hours. Your eyes are starting to cross. Well, if you're going to take a break for a couple hours, then Charlie's stream at 5 should be pretty nice timing. I'm trying to think, it's Wednesday, so there are definitely some evening sprints. I'll be honest, I have not checked the spreadsheet in several weeks, so I do not know if it's up to date or not. I had been working really hard, and several of the others had been helping out. Yeah, it looks pretty empty in terms of like updated things. And it doesn't appear to have been updated, but you can still use it as a like who's normally streaming during those days. So that link is in the description. Should be anyway. But it is not currently up to date. So just so you know. Becca says, thanks so much for the stream. Yes, I've missed y'all. I have missed writing. I've missed like chatting with y'all. I have missed all the things. So I'm trying to make some decisions and like process things to be able to make decisions. So yeah. So hopefully, again, I don't know what my next day off will be. So hooray. But when I know, I will post, a live stream so that, y'all can know a few days ahead of time, like I did this time. So no more waiting until the day of. So I'm trying. So yeah. So Megan says, see y'all at Charlie's stream later. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Awesome. As always, thanks for the sprints. Thank you very much. It's not much, but at least the names are there so we can go to their page, right? Yes. Yeah. And I know that Kat has been moving, and so things were changing for Kat. So yeah, that was the hard thing about keeping the spreadsheet up, is just because there is a lot and it required pretty near constant updating. It's one of the reasons why I'm still mad at YouTube for Devin Cutting's thing, for them banning Devin. Anyway. All right. Don't forget to save. Don't forget to sip. Don't forget to get up and move every once in a while, or stretch at least. And I will hopefully see y'all in the chats of Charlie's stream a little bit later, and work on some more of this Harpy and Hellhound story. It'll be fun. I think the meet cute at the anger management counseling is a fantastic way to start this. So yes. All right, y'all, don't forget to save, and I will see y'all hopefully soon. Bye.